Hey, welcome to another High Performer Building Pulse. Today we are joined with Jen Baird, who is a director at Bayleys Real Estate, but has also previously been CEO of Real Estate Institute of New Zealand, plus some other stuff. And we want to hear a bit about her story, as well as her take on where the market is at, whether it's plateaued, whether it's going up, down, who knows. So Jen, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
No problem. It's great to be here in this awesome space.
Yeah, it's good, eh? About you, what do you tell us? Give me a little bit of snapshot of your career, what you've done, and how you ended up in real estate.
Okay, so I grew up in Hamilton.
Yep.
Went to the University of Waikato. Fantastic place to do my years at uni.
Yeah.
And then I did marketing and international management and Chinese actually in the 1990s, which was a very unusual thing to be doing. I actually did part of my degree in Shanghai, which was an amazing education. And then my first few jobs out of university were, those starter jobs. I worked for Unilever as a sales rep and was a recruitment consultant, toughest job in the world, and then went to London and really was just sort of doing sales and marketing type things. And when I came back from the UK, I really sort of started my career, and I had a couple of jobs, and the one before I ended up in real estate, I really didn't enjoy it. It was kind of really just not challenging enough. And then one day this amazing job description landed in my inbox, and I couldn't believe how good it sounded. And then I found out that it was in real estate, and I was a bit disappointed. It would be fair to say. I was like, oh. And my brother was a real estate agent, and I called him up and I said, oh God, that job, it sounds so amazing, but it's in real estate. And he said, you will absolutely love this industry. You should go for it. And so that's how I ended up being. I was the head of marketing at Barfoot & Thompson for about 10 years.
Wow.
So amazing company to grow my career with. And then my partner and I at the time decided it was time to live in the country. And for me, that didn't mean moving to Whitford and having a 2-hour commute each way. So we moved back home to the Waikato, and I worked for the Hamilton City Council. So I was the GM of growth and was responsible for, amongst other things, the full consenting process. So thinking about the city in 100 years' time and all the spatial planning, and then everything back through all the resource consenting through to building consents.
Wait,
and
I have to ask, did you, because I reckon the timing's about right, did you come up with Hamilton Future of the City?
No, absolutely
Just
not.
sounds like something a marketing person might
Somebody
have come up with.
much more fun than me. Many years before my time came up with that. I do have a t-shirt though with Hamilton City of the Future on it.
Yeah.
So that was an amazing space to be in, in a spot where you're making decisions about the long-term future of a city. And thinking about what it would look like when there were sort of 300,000 or 400,000 people living there. So and then that kind of ran its course. It was time to come back to the big city, come back to Auckland, and my timing was perfect, and I became the chief executive of the Real Estate Institute. I was there for 4 years, and it's fantastic to see the industry across all brands and in all of its breadth. You don't see that when you're in one piece of it. And that was just a really amazing opportunity to really make an impact for the industry on things that really mattered. So I did that for 4 years, and then I had an opportunity to head back into a commercial environment, running Bayleys Auckland residential business, and been there for nearly a year, let's call it. And it's fantastic. The business is going gangbusters. It's a wildly ambitious place full of high energy people getting after it. It's great.
Yeah, it's amazing they've still got that much energy, because it's been a tough few years.
Yeah, it really has been. I think that, it has felt like the real estate industry or the market has been in the doldrums for a lot longer this cycle than it normally is. It doesn't settle at this level very often for this length of time. And I think that businesses certainly have felt it, But for our clients, like navigating the buying and selling of property over the last few years has been very challenging for lots of people. That in an environment of pretty challenging economic situation
So
has
how
been
would
tough.
you describe where we're at now versus where we were 12 months ago?
Oh, I think there's a lot more positivity. I think that most people believe that the worst is behind us.
Yeah.
There's much more activity in the market, more sales. So there's more people that are just getting on with making their real estate decisions. And that's one of the things about this industry is that people are making property choices or property decisions off the back of a life choice.
Yeah.
You know, if everybody waited till it was pragmatically the right time to buy or sell, we might be waiting a bit longer, but people are still getting married and having babies and getting divorced and these sorts of things, moving overseas, whatever. They're making a choice about their life and they need to buy or sell a property.
Yeah. And does it feel like there's a bit of pent-up demand because they have been holding on, but now it's like life's moved on, they've just got to move. They can't wait for the market to come right, or...
I don't think there's so much pent-up demand. I think that people are now feeling more confident about the future.
Right.
So now's the right time for them to move. And, you know, they could have done it 6 months ago. They could do it in 6 months, but actually now feels like the right time. So we're definitely seeing a bit of that. Money's a bit cheaper. You know, those sorts of things that give people the confidence to take a step.
Yeah.
And in terms of the properties that they're buying.
And are you seeing, because I remember the start of last year, there was a bit of a flurry of activity and hopefulness. And then, of course, it fizzled out and it ended up being relatively flat. Yeah.
Yes.
What we're seeing now starting off this year, obviously the activity is yet to kick in, right? Because a lot of stuff holds back till after Waitangi Day. But you guys would be talking already to all of those vendors at least. Does it feel like the numbers showing that there's more activity regardless of the time of year, the seasonal aspect?
There is more activity and has been for a wee while. So through spring, we saw quite a lift as well.
Yeah.
And look, I don't think it stands anymore that nothing happens in the real estate market until after Waitangi weekend. I mean, we had lots going on in early January. You know, people are not going on holiday for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. There's a small proportion of the market that will do that.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's the time when they actually have time to sit around a table with their family and go, right, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? Maybe now's the time to start looking. And they jump online and they're looking. You know, the website traffic proves that. And early in the year, there's definitely activity. I think that what we're seeing is a more realistic market. I think there was a bit of excitement heading into 25, and I'm not seeing that excitement now, but a reality, a sort of a baseline reality. Like people kind of get where we're at now and are comfortable with that, and making choices off the back of it.
Yeah. So rather than waiting for it to peak up, they're okay with a steady growth rate. They're not missing out on anything. They're kind of
Oh, look, if you're waiting for a year to come along where property prices are going to go up by 20% in 1 year, you'll be waiting a long time.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, we'll look back on what happened post-COVID and that will be an anomaly.
Yeah.
You know, these things don't happen very often. And I think one of the things that is creating some more of that reality that I talked about is that people are looking at their properties now and less of them are thinking that it's worth what it might have been worth in November 2021.
Yeah.
You know, there's the sense that people have looked at their, you know, one of the automated valuation models online, for example, and they looked at it at the end of 2021 and it said their property was worth $1 million. And there's the sense that that's where it's at now, you know, and in Auckland particularly, you know, property values are still 20% off where they were at that peak.
Yeah.
And I think more and more people are understanding that if you want to move in today's market, you have to meet buyers where they're at.
Yeah. And 20% is a lot.
It is.
You know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot. Where do we sit? I've done a lot of these podcasts over the years with Peter Thompson. And he would kind of always harp back to the history over the last at least 50, 60 years, if not longer, property's doubled every 10 years, and it's just this reliable thing, and we don't need to worry about whatever's happening. It'll come back. Are we still confident, or is that trend being bucked, do you think?
That is a great question. Look, I think that, I mean, history will tell us if that happens. But, I think when you look at the numbers, there are very few years in the last 60 or 70 years where property prices in Auckland have gone backwards.
Yeah.
Very few years. Like, probably count them on one hand.
Yeah.
And certainly they
Are
didn't
they like
come...
short, sharp corrections and then coming back up? But
little
not...
reductions.
Yeah.
We're talking little reductions.
Yeah.
Post things like, the GFC.
And
And the Asian financial crisis and things like that. The 87 share market crash.
Yeah.
These big things.
Yeah,
We haven't seen a correction like we've seen. But neither have we seen that level of growth. To be growing at 20% for a few years, that is also an anomaly.
Yeah.
So I think that we, if you take the bump out, then the trend kind of continues.
Right.
But we'll know in 10 years if property prices have doubled.
It might be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, and I think the smart money this year, and a lot of the commentators have been saying that there might be, on average, a little bit of a movement up. But there is a lot in the market that would suggest limited upward pressure on prices.
Yeah.
There's historically high levels of property available for sale, and classic demand and supply. When buyers have got a lot of choice, they will negotiate harder.
Yeah.
They will take their time. And if you're selling a property, making sure that you are putting your absolute best foot forward really early in the campaign is important. Great marketing is really important. Presenting that property as well as possible. Because your first job, when there are thousands of properties on the market, your first job is to be noticed enough to get on the open home list so that people will actually come and have a look. So, from a seller's perspective, really important to think about what that strategy is.
And what's changed in terms of buyer behaviour? Are you seeing any difference in the buyers today than what we saw I don't know, in the past 5 years as an average, I guess? Has there been a shift? Not just price expectations, but maybe what they're looking for, or...
Well, people have more and more information and have done more and more research before they walk through that front door.
Yeah.
That has and will continue to change.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the fundamental change for a lot of people in terms of how they use their home post-COVID is absolutely making an impact.
It's still coming through in
buyer attitude. Absolutely. That third bedroom that could be an office, or the fourth bedroom that could be an office, or that little nook in the hallway that could be your office. Yeah. All of those sorts of things, like where am I going to work from home, is fundamentally changed.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think that certainly in the metros, in the big cities, thinking about where the public transport is. Okay. Back in the olden days when I first started in real estate, we talked about, adding walk scores to the website, and decided against it because, who really cared where the train station was? They care where the train station is now.
What do you think shifted there?
Auckland in particular is much bigger than it was. 1.8 million people now. I mean, what would it have been 10 or 15 years ago? Like 1.2?
Yeah.
And we all know that the traffic doesn't get better.
No.
It does on Mondays and Fridays when people are working from home.
Tell you what, when school started again, you noticed this year? Oh, my goodness.
Exactly. And I think that those, like, how people engage with the city is changing, and councils do a lot to change that, to make it more livable and more walkable. Lots more businesses have got end of trip facilities in their offices, so you can ride to work, and all of that. All of these things about our lives are changing. We're taking our health more seriously. All of these things, add up to change.
See, off the back of that, I'm really interested, because obviously you get a lot of opinions from a lot of people around the intensification, all these terrace houses going, and the bloody street filling up because there's nowhere to park, and all of these sort of things. What are you guys seeing though from buyers who are showing up and buying or renting these terrace houses that don't have car parks? Are they bothered that when they're buying them, they're moving into them? Is it, do they bring it up? Is it a problem? Because people from the outside are going, it's a pain in the butt, but they're buying it, they're moving in, they're selling, they have been for the last 10 years. What are you hearing from those buyers? What's their perspective?
Well, I think that a good city has a range of housing typologies for all of the different people from all of the walks of life that we need to have a vibrant, multicultural city. And not everybody can afford to live, on the cliff in Hoon Bay.
Yeah.
We do need those other properties as well, and people will trade off space, car park for location, for price, for all sorts of things. I mean, there's a lot of townhouses in Auckland now, certainly a lot in West and South Auckland, and because of the volume of them, the price point is at a fairly affordable level.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of competition. Like, there's a lot on the market. So if you're a buyer and you're looking for one of those kinds of properties, you've got a lot of choice, which keeps a lid on upward pressure on prices. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And people are buying them for investments, and that will work for them over time.
Yeah.
But there's no lack of them.
Okay. Interest rates, inflation. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? What's the feedback? Obviously, they're starting to creep up again. We sort of bottomed out, but then it looks like inflation's trying to creep back in a little bit. What are you hearing in terms of what do you know about where that's going and what the expectations are? But also, what are you hearing in terms of are buyers taking this into account? What are they thinking?
Well, I'm not an economist.
No.
But I do listen to what they all say.
Yeah.
And I think that, there is, towards the end of last year, there was that kind of weird moment where there was a drop in the OCR and then some suggestion that it would start edging up again. And then we had Christmas and there was this pause. I think that most expectations are that, interest rates will stay relatively steady over the next little while. So people have some certainty around that we're not going to drop or go up significantly anytime soon, barring some kind of major event, of course. So that seems to be where we're at. And I think one of the things that the property market loves is certainty. So that kind of knowing that it's going to stay where it is for a wee while gives people a bit of confidence. And in the grand scheme of things, if you take a longer term perspective, money is still quite cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. And even with a shift, and even with inflation, it's not dangerous. It's just it's crept up, and it wouldn't take much. It might even just be holding.
Yeah,
that kind of brings that back into line.
Yeah, I think I would also say that New Zealanders, middle New Zealanders, have had a lot of pain from a cost of living perspective for a long time now. And if you're also a mortgage holder, a little bit of reduction in your interest rate, giving you a couple of $100 a month more in your back pocket is really just taking the edge off the pain of the increase in prices that we've seen over the last few years. It's been really tough for a lot of people. I think the flip side of that is job security. 5% unemployment rate is still means that people feel relatively secure in their jobs. We've been through that sort of period of uncertainty around employment.
Timing, in terms of, a real estate agent always says it's a good time to buy and sell. I'd like to hear a bit more about, what do you think? What is now a good time to buy or sell? And there's probably nuances within that. I'd ask, is now a good time to upsize, or is it a better time to downsize? Or what does this market present? What opportunities does it present?
It is a good question. So, of course I'm going to say, if now is the right time for you to make that life choice, and that life choice dictates a property decision.
But let's take that out of it, because that skirts the question.
Now is the right time.
The question is, I could sell now, I could sell in a year,
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me. Do I do it now? What's the advantage of going now, or isn't there one?
There are a few advantages of going now.
Mm-hmm.
One is that we are heading into traditionally the busiest time in the real estate market, when there are lots of people who have come back from their Christmas holidays and they've made a decision. Right, we are buying. We're in the market. We're gonna make that change. So there's a lot of activity that comes off the back of that. Flip side of that is that people who are selling also make that choice, so there is more competition. Because of where prices are and the stability of money, it's a pretty good time to upsize. If you're looking for that next step on the ladder, if you think about, we talked earlier about prices 20% off where their peak was. So, if your property has come down, in value, that property that's more expensive has come down in the same value, and the delta between those is shorter than it would have been in a rising market. So it is a good time to do that as well.
So good for people like me to maybe upsize, but the person I need to buy that house off might be a boomer whose kids have grown up. Is it a good time for them to downsize?
It depends on how long they can wait for and what they're hoping that outcome would be. Given if you're looking to wait until your property is worth another $250,000, because that is going to add to your retirement fund, on the back of expectations this year, the property price is going to go up 3 to 5%. Depending on the value of your home, of course, you might be waiting a long time for that. Probably you've owned that property for a decade, maybe 2 decades, maybe 3 decades. So chances are it's worth a lot more than what you paid for it, whenever that was. So you've got a whole load of equity in it. So it's so determined by your personal circumstances and what you want the next years of your life to look like.
What about first home buyers? Are they out there? How are they finding the mortgage rates and those lending conditions? And probably what's the most important thing they should be focusing on at the moment?
There's definitely first home buyers around. I think that they are looking at this market and going, money is relatively cheap, prices are relatively stable, now is the time for me. And a really, really positive change over the last few years. More and more of those people are showing up with their KiwiSaver, and they have, from quite a young age, been really committed to saving to their KiwiSaver, because it is going to help them into their first home, and we're seeing that all of the time, and I think that's really helping young New Zealanders.
So has there been, did the first home buyers disappear for a while and have come back, or have they kind of been there the whole way?
Look, they're always there to a greater or a lesser extent. I think when property prices are absolutely flying, it gets to the point where they're priced out of the market. They can't move as quickly, or they're competing with investors. And we haven't seen investors come back into the market in a really strong way. There's always investors around,
of course.
But that is not a very visible part of the market at the moment.
You were talking about investors. What are you seeing? There was, and I can't remember exactly. There was a interest or a tax. There was something that was there a few years ago around driving them towards new builds. Is that still in place? Is that still happening, or are investors, like the rest of the market, looking at existing stock more than they were?
So you're talking about interest deductibility.
That's right.
And
get skilled, Tim, before
the current government changed the threshold for that back to 2 years.
Okay.
Which investors were very pleased about.
Okay, and so you saw a shift in their behaviour then?
Not really, because of the market timing, but it has made it. It has taken the disincentives out of property investing. Or some of them.
The other policy shift that's come in with National was the foreign buyer.
Yes.
Is that having an impact? Are you starting to see that come through yet?
Slowly. So that change, the first thing you need to have in order to access that opportunity to buy a property, you have to sort out your immigration status. So it's immigration first. So you're get your visa, and then you're in a position to buy a property, and you can buy or build a property for over $5 million. So there's lots of people in New Zealand who do have a visa, already have that golden visa, they call it, and they present a bit of an opportunity. We've seen some of that activity, but over time it just creates more opportunities for people who want to come to New Zealand to invest, to build a business. It makes it much easier for those people. It gives them the opportunity to actually build their lives here as well.
Yeah, and I think that was part of the driver, right? And bringing those high net worth people, but also skilled people, doctors and surgeons and things like that, who very clever, but wanted to be able to settle and bring the family.
Yeah, and as a nation, we want that to happen too. Right? We don't want them to just show up and rent for a couple of years and then move back to where they came from because they can't really build their lives here. And so creating that opportunity where they can anchor themselves and their families is really important.
Yeah, well, we've kind of got this really high valued asset being this country that's sought after to live in. But if it's not actually for sale, it doesn't matter what value you put on it, it's worth nothing. At the moment, it seems like you've got older property or existing stock with space, new stock without space. There's not a lot of new stock with space. I don't know. You guys might actually have a bit of insight in this because a builder might be going, all right, here I go. I've got 800, 1,000 square metres. Should I do 3 bigger homes with a bit of a lawn, or should I do 6 that are all squished in? Now, there's an ROI thing that messes with the balance of that question, but in terms of market demand and end sell price, where would you sit on that? If I was sitting there as a developer going, okay, I've got that land, what should I do?
I think what we are seeing is that there is a lot of available stock at the more affordable end of the market. So sort of larger blocks of townhouses. There's a lot of that already available. What there
so as a developer, that might look nice on paper.
Yes.
But you're going to be in a highly competitive space.
You're going to be a highly competitive space, and so the demand isn't there to the degree that it would be if you were building a higher end townhouse. You're going to spec it a bit higher, but your ability to sell that at more of a premium in some of those more, I guess, affluent suburbs, where there is demand for people who want to move out of their 5-bedroom villa and into something a bit smaller but still lovely. There's not a lot of that. We're starting to see it, and it sells quite well.
Yeah. My final question: what is kind of not the mood of the boardroom, but the mood of real estate agents across the country? How are they feeling? They've had a tough few years.
Actually, we've seen more people coming into the industry in the last 6 to 12 months. There's always an ebb and flow. There's always people, who have decided that now's the time they're going to get in. It's a fantastic career. And then there's also people that are, it's not for them, or they're retiring out of the industry. But we're seeing more people coming in at the moment. Look, I think that real estate agents are seeing more activity in the market, and that gives them confidence. There's more property coming to market. There's a lot of buyer activity. There's a sense of more confidence than there has been for a wee while, and that makes them feel good because they can make a living. But also, this business is about helping people get on with their lives and helping them to navigate through challenging circumstances or exciting circumstances. And and when the economy, when people in New Zealand are feeling more confident, they make property decisions, and our people are there to help them. That's been Building Pulse for another episode with Tim and me, Jen Baird. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast.